Hello, welcome back to Dimension Quest. In my last video, I set up a brand new vanilla install, so just a clean install of Windows 11 Pro running on VMware Workstation 17 under Linux. So with that, if you're running a home lab environment or you're trying to teach yourself various technology, you really need to be able to work with SSH. Now, in some of my previous videos, I did see some comments about people not knowing how to do SSH from Windows. Well, in previous versions of Windows, back before Windows 10 and Windows 11, you had to install something like PuTTY, one of the most popular SSH clients, in order to do any SSH stuff. However, now that Windows 10 and Windows 11 include the SSH client by default, you no longer have to do an extra installation. So let's take a look at what that looks like from my clean install of Windows here. First of all, I'm going to open up the Windows Explorer here. I'll just move it over to the side, and I'm going to go into my home directory so that we can see a particular folder that gets created in a little bit here. So we'll go into users, go into blab, and we'll see here that there's nothing with any regards to SSH here right now. Now, if we look over on my Ubuntu VM, when you have connected to an SSH host, a file in the .ssh folder gets created called known_hosts. So that stores the thumbprints of hosts that you have connected to successfully before. Let's go ahead and launch terminal over on our Windows 11 Pro VM. And when that comes up, we'll just type SSH just to verify that it is installed. We can see here that we did not get an unknown command, so this is good. Now, if we want to SSH over to this Linux VM that I have running on the same network, I need to provide the following command: SSH space the username. So in that case, my user is basbill at, and then the name of the VM. So it is ba-u22041.home.arpa, because that's the fully qualified domain name of the VM that's running. So the first thing that happens is the SSH client connects over to the server, and it sees that it has never connected before because it doesn't recognize the fingerprint. So it's asking you if you want to continue connecting. And in this case, we do want to continue connecting. So we'll just type yes and hit enter. Now we need to provide a valid password. And we've connected. Now, over here, let's see here. Nothing's changed there. We still have known hosts. And over here, we now have a .ssh folder. So let's go in there. And we have a known_hosts. And this file has that fingerprint from this host over here. Now, connecting with a username and password, that's not the best idea. That can lead to brute force attacks where people can try to get into your system. A much more secure method of doing SSH connections is generating a key pair. Let's click back over to Windows and let's create a key pair. So in order to create a key pair, you type ssh-keygen. Now, if we simply hit enter, it's going to go ahead and create an RSA key pair with the lowest default key size of 256 bits. Now you can put in a parameter -b and specify something like 1024, 4096, whatever you like there. But I'm going to go ahead and cancel this because I don't want to create an RSA key. The RSA key and that standard, that was created back in the 70s. So I'd like to go with something a little more modern that is recommended and just as secure as RSA. So I'm going to specify a type by doing -t. So we'll do ssh-keygen -t ed25519. Now I could just stop right there on the command line and hit enter, and it'll go ahead and prompt me for some extra information. But I want to provide a comment in the pub file and my key so that I know what this key pair is being created for. So I do a $C, and then in quotes, I'm going to put Ubuntu client connection or something like that. Now, what happens if I don't specify -c and put in my own thing? Well, a comment is going to get added to the pub file anyway with this content here, my logged in username at the destination host. Now, I just realized that I'm still logged in to the VM over here. So let's just copy this. That should copy it. And we're going to do a Control U to clear the screen. I'm going to type exit so that I disconnect. Now, let's see if I can do a Control V. Yes, I can. So here, we are back on the Windows machine, and we're going to run SSH Keygen, and we're going to create our key pair. So I'll hit Enter. And by default, it's going to create your key pair in the .ssh folder that we saw over here in our home directory. And the name of the file is going to be ID _ and then the type of key that you're creating. So if I had simply done the default, you see it would have created ID _ RSA. But since I'm using the newer standard, it's creating ID _ ED25519. So I want to go ahead and leave that where it is. I'll hit Enter. Now, normally you would want to encrypt the key pair with your passphrase, but I don't want to do that right now since I'm just doing a demonstration, and this is not going to be a long-term production key pair. So I'll just hit Enter for no passphrase and hit Enter again. So now, if we go into our .ssh folder, dir, we can see that we have our private key here and our pub key. And we can see this over here in Windows Explorer as well. So let's take a look at the contents of the pub file. Now you can see at the very end of the line there, we've got our public key here, space, and then whatever the comment is. So after the public key, there's always going to be a space, and then any content that you put in as the comment. The very first part of your pub key is going to be SSH- and then the type of key that you've done. So if I had done an RSA key, then it would have been SSH-RSA. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Let's just say SSH-keygen, and we'll just let it go with the defaults. Hit Enter, hit Enter, Enter. Now we look in our folder, and now we have ID _ RSA as our private key and ID _ RSA.pub as our public key. So let's take a look at ID _ RSA.pub. And we can see here that it starts with SSH-RSA, space, the public key, space, my user at my host name. So blab@win11-vm, because that's the host name that I'm logged into. Okay, so what do you do with this key pair once you have it? Well, you need to copy your public key to the remote host that you plan on connecting to. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and just delete the RSA files because I don't want to use those. So let's just delete that. Good. Now, normally you would use a command called ssh-copy-id that is prevalent in the Linux community. However, it doesn't appear that that particular command is available here in Windows. So we need to look for another way of doing that. Now, we have a couple different options. If you have copy-paste access, you can copy from one window to the other. You can also SCP the file from your local system over to the remote host, and then modify the authorized _keys file on that remote host. Okay, let's go ahead and get the contents of the file. So we'll just type that ID _ ed file pub so that we have the contents of our public key there. And we'll just grab all of that. There we go. So when I hit the right click, that copies it to my clipboard. Now if I come over here, let's see if I can do a Control-Shift-V to paste it. Yes, it's there. So I did a Control-U to remove that. So from here, I can create the authorized keys file. So the authorized keys file tells your server what keys can connect to your system. So in this case, I'm logged into the BASBIL account, which is the SSH account that I'll use to connect over here. And this file resides in that folder's, in that user's .ssh directory. So I'll create the file. Then I need to make sure that the file is read-write only by the owner. So we'll do a chmod 0400 on the authorized keys file. Let's see here. My bad, it needs to be 0600 because it's read-write, not just read. Okay, that's better. So now we'll edit that file and we will insert our public key from the other system. Escape, X. So now if we do an SSH over to that system from our Windows system, we should not be prompted for our credentials. There we go. We weren't prompted for the credentials because that initial handshake, it checked the configuration on the remote server, and the server prefers doing key-based authentication over password. So it checked to see if there were any authorized keys that matched the private key that was being used on my local system, and it did find one, so it went ahead and connected me. The next step would be to secure the host a little bit further by not allowing password-based authentication. I've already covered that in one of my other videos, so I won't go into the details on that for here. So in this video, we have learned how to use SSH command line to connect from one host to another, specifically from Windows 11 over to a Linux system. Using password-based authentication, we have created an SSH key pair using a more modern key type. So this pretty much concludes the topics that I wanted to cover in this particular video. So thanks for watching. Have a great week.